AAA game. High-budget games created by large development studios, example including The Last of Us or Halo. Alpha, an early testing phase of a game where the core mechanics are implemented but the content and polish are incomplete. Ambient inclusion, a shading technique that simulates how light interacts with objects to create realistic shadows. Animation, the process of creating movement for characters or objects in a game. API, application programming interface, tools and protocols that allow different software components to communicate, often used in game engines. Assets, visual, audio, or interactive components used in a game, such as texture, models, or sound effects. Artificial intelligence, AI, the programming of non-player characters, NPCs, to simulate human-like behavior. Backend, the part of the game that handles data management, networking, and processing behind the scenes. Beta, a later testing phase where the game is more complete but still being polished. Billboarding, a technique where a 2D image always faces the camera to simulate a 3D object. Build, a compiled version of the game that can be played or tested. Collision detection, the process of determining when the objects in a game intersect or come into contact. Cutscene, a non-interactive cinematic sequence in a game that advances the story. Debugging, the process of identifying and fixing errors or bugs in the game code. Dialogue tree, a branch system that allows players to choose responses in conversations. Engine, the software framework used to build games like Unreal Engine, Unity, or Godot. Fog of War, a visual effect in strategy games that obscures unexplored areas. Frame rate, FPS, the number of frames displayed per second, affecting how smooth a game looks. Game loop, the core cycle of operations in a game including input processing, game logic, and rendering. GDD, game design document, a detailed plan outlining every aspect of a game. Hitbox, the invisible area around a character or object that determines collisions. HUD, a heads-up display, the on-screen interface that shows health, ammo, or other important information. Input lag, the delay between a player's action and the game's response. Instance, a unique copy of an object in a game. Isometric view, a perspective that shows a game world from a fixed angle viewpoint. Level design, the process of creating playable spaces in a game. LOD, level of detail, a technique that reduces the complexity of models as they move further from the camera. Modding, altering a game's files to create new content or mechanics. Motion capture or mocap, using real-world actors to record realistic movements for characters. Multiplayer, a mode where multiplayers can interact in the same game environment. NavMesh, navigation mesh, a tool for AI pathfinding in 3D environments. Node, a single unit in a game engine's hierarchy often used in engines like Godot. NPC, non-player character, characters in a game controlled by AI rather than the player. Optimization, the process of improving game performance and reducing resource usage. Parallax scrolling, a technique that creates a scene of depth by moving background layers at different speeds. Particle system, a tool to create effects like smoke, fire, or explosions. Pixel art, a graphic style where images are created with visible individual pixels. Playtesting, testing a game with real players to find issues and gather feedback. Produce world generation, creating content dynamically through algorithms often used in games like Minecraft. PvP, player versus player, a multiplayer mode where players compete against each other. Quest, a task or mission given to a player to complete. Ragdoll physics, simulating realistic character movements when they fall or collide. Ray tracing, a rendering technique for realistic lighting and shadows. Rendering, the process of generating images from game data. Respawn, reintroducing a player or NPC to the game after death. Resolution, the number of pixels displayed on the screen affecting visual quality. Rigging, the process of crafting a skeleton for a 3D model to enable animation. Sandbox, a game with open-ended exploration and player freedom, like Minecraft. Scene, a collection of objects, lights, and other elements in a game environment. Scripting, writing a code to define game behaviors and interactions. Shader, a program that controls how objects appear visually. Skybox, a 3D environment that simulates a sky or distant background. Spawn point, a designated location where players or objects appear in the game. Sprite, a 2D image used in games, often for characters or objects. Texture mapping, applying images to 3D models to give them color and detail. Tile map, a grid-based system for creating 2D environments. Trigger, an event that occurs when a player interacts with an object or area. UI, user interface, the graphical elements players interact with, like menus or buttons. Vertex, a point in a 3D space used to define the shape of a model. Viewport, the visible area of the game displayed on the screen. You don't have PC to create games? It's okay. Watch this video to know the best mobile game engines to create games just using your phone.